Well, to start things off in the series, XSET going to be taking a strong win over on Pearl. But when we were looking at Moist Mogul's history with their first maps, let alone their history on Pearl, this was really a result that we expected. So no surprise really coming out.
I think this is what a lot of people think is just going to be the rhythm for Moist Moguls throughout this event. Losing map 1, that's what we've seen from them now for the last couple of matches that they've had. But you have to point at this Pearl and just go, okay, at what point does this start to become your ban? Because it's been a map they've struggled with. They have not won more than 8 rounds on Pearl. And I think that a large part of that, is the composition they bring. It just feels like they're still trying to figure out how to make these pieces work together. It's not that this comp can't work. It's just that it doesn't seem to be working for them. They don't really seem to be playing it the same way that other people are playing it. I don't really want to say that's the only reason why this map doesn't work for them, because I think there's maybe some other problems they're having on the roster fundamentally. But it is an odd one, to say the least. The lack of information gathering, the fact that they switched Dodonut over to the Jet at least shows promise. They're willing to make some adaptations, and I think we all wanted to see how that would work out for them. Ultimately, it doesn't have enough gusto to push them over the finish line, as Dodonut actually ended up finishing 12 and 15. But I think you have to also point at XSET. They play an obscure composition with a Phoenix, which is not what a lot of teams are doing. They don't have a Killjoy. They have a Cypher, which is also matched on the other side. They've swapped Bob away from the Harbor, and they've gone over to the Sova, which I like. I think that this composition definitely works a whole lot better for them, and you can see the success they're having as a result. A 13-6 victory, not a bad way to start the series.
Yeah, they just look cool, calm, collected, and just so overly confident. The fact, too, that the map is going to be ended out with that ace coming out from Bunny B, just running it with the Phoenix, was just incredible. But when you're talking about incredible players, we have to be looking at MVP of XSET for this time around, Panday, because Panday is not really someone that we've talked about nearly as much of the other people of this roster. And to see the Cypher topping the charts here, Sapphire, I think this is where we need to talk about Panday.
Yeah, Panday's got a really cool story, really coming up kind of in the academy system of game changers, playing a lot of those smaller events, playing on the, I don't know, I guess you could call them maybe the farm teams, a lot of people would say, or your tier 2 or your non-org teams, Sanrio's, Area Grande, Perfume, and got a name for herself and finally was picked up by her first org in XSET. So this is a really promising showing for her, the best finish she's had in a Game Changers main event before. So there's a lot of exciting moments. Even as a Cypher, a ton of first bloods, was just a really good anchor on the site.
And even going back to the start of the year, Panday has played a variety of roles, playing Sova, Fade, Killjoy, Brimstone, Sage, Viper, Yoru, Breach, really trying to find stable footing. And I think in that Sentinel role is where we see Panday seem to work out best. Pearl has been one of their better maps. If you actually go back and look, Pearl's where they kind of sit in the background a little bit, but positive KD, definitely strong performance on the ACS. It seems to be a map that Panday really excels at. And this is the first time we get to see Panday drive to the top of the leaderboard, really putting a little exclamation point on the performance, and a strong first map from not only them, but the entirety of the team.
We'll have to see then when we're going to a map that maybe not as comfortable on, at least not quite in recent history, as we're looking at Haven next in our series. For XSET, this is one we haven't seen since the qualifiers, and it was pretty close with some varying results, whereas for Moist Moguls, this is the one where yesterday, Sapphire, we got to see the turnaround, we got to see the bounce back after their first loss, and this is where Moist Moguls really started to shine.
Yeah, this was certainly an important match for them yesterday. They took, I believe, as a 13-9 win over EG, very important one. Just all the pieces were working. This is where we finally got to see Dodonut on that Jet. We should see a revived team, and as we talked about, like, you know, they like to start. They're thinking 0-0 at this point. You know, this is what they were looking forward to, this Haven pick.
This is an interesting map for them, too, because they juggle roles around, at least based on the last time we saw them play. We'll see Katsumi go back to the Duelist, and this is actually something we've talked about with this XSET roster, is flexibility not only on individual players, but also on the roster. Katsumi goes through the Duelist again, will probably play the Jet. Last time we saw them play, Bob was playing Cypher. Panday was going to the Omen. Bunny Bee was playing the Sky and Rise was playing Breach. It seems like they're basically just throwing out roles left and right, like it's the Oprah show, and it's like, you get a role, and you get a role, and you'll be an initiator. It's a little bit peculiar, and maybe that's why it doesn't work so well for them. The fact that they're mixing up the roles so aggressively, people are feeling out of place. They had a 13-10 loss to Akumu. They had a 14-12 win earlier in the qualifier as well. It's not the kind of results you expect from a team who's made it as far as they have. So maybe we'll see a change today. Maybe we'll see them kind of find more reasonable and reliable compositions. I think Katsumi on a Jet makes perfect sense. That's something that Katsumi does well. But maybe the rest of the team is going to find themselves back in spots that they play on other maps. I'm not against trying new comps. I'm not against juggling roles. It just feels like it hasn't worked for them, and they need to find more stable ground.
I mean, they're definitely not strangers to switching things up, because when we think back to that Pearl 2, it was one that they were running that Harbor with before, which is fun, but then swapping over to the Sova when realizing, hey, maybe this isn't working quite too well. So them seeing this Haven ahead of them, there definitely is that room for change, especially since talking to Rise yesterday and talking about the fact that we'll play what they're comfortable on and make sure that everyone's kind of in their own zone, Sapphire, so each player can be performing at the capability that they need to be.
Yeah, that was a insightful interview from Rise, because they said, we're not worrying about the strats, we're just playing like what we know best, what makes us feel the most comfortable.
That's something you hear from a lot of teams too at the top level, looking at VCT even. Like, they come into a game and that's just how they play. They want to play their own game. They don't want to worry about their opponents and how they're going to play. They don't want to counter strat, which sometimes I think could be beneficial to teams of all levels of play. But it's this idea of just coming in and doing what you know how to do. So I get it. I do agree that there is value to that. I just am not sold on how they approach this map. Hopefully they'll mix things up a little bit today.
Well then, Abak, what do you need to see then for you to be a believer in XSET's Haven?
I feel like Bob on Cypher is not the worst thing. I think that Bob is probably the most flexible player currently playing in Game Changers. If you look at the roles, we talked about this, I think, on day one of the main event. In the last 30 days, Bob's played 8 different agents. Not like, you know, one round here, one round there. Literally full games, sometimes multiple games. I think Bob has like 5 games, 5 agents with at least 2 games, which is pretty impressive. Not many players play that level. It reminds me of like a player like Sick, who at one point in time was one of those incredibly versatile, flexible players who was willing to play whatever role necessary to get the team across the finish line, but also plays every single role they play really well. It's not like, oh, this one feels a little bit clunkier, this one doesn't work. So Bob plays the Cypher well for this team. It's the other roles that seem kind of weird, like Panday switching it from a Sentinel over to an Omen. That plays a lot different than what you're going to play if you're playing a Killjoy or a Cypher. So maybe that's a switch they need to make. The fact that they don't have a Sova on Haven is somewhat surprising. I feel like a lot of people are going to run a Sova on this map. It seems like an incredibly strong agent, which would be Bob's play, which means you then put Panday on the Cypher or even on the Killjoy. You could mix things up and throw either Bunny Bee or Rise on different roles if you really need to. I think there's things that they can do to try to fine-tune the composition. They can still bring these same agents into the fold. I don't have a problem with the composition. I just have maybe an issue with who's playing the roles and how it works for the roster. So we'll see as we get into the agent select whether we're going to see any kind of juggle up coming in here from XSET. And there's the first one. So Rise is going to go to the smokes. Panda is going to go to the Killjoy. Katsumi will stick to the Jet, which means Bunny Bee's probably going to stay on the Breach. Do we get Bob on the Sova? Yes, we do.
There we
That's
go.
huge. I like this composition a lot more than what we saw from them before.
They're listening to Coach Bach over here. They're getting the sauce of what to play. No, I'm definitely with you that I like this a lot more. Bob on the Sova has just been an incredible player to watch, and being able to have, even if everyone's like can do different things, being able to see people on roles that they're a bit more comfortable with, that we get to see them with on other maps. Definitely a look that I like to see coming out. Time to see if they can now take Moist Mogul's map off of them and take this series in a 2-0, or if this is just Moist Mogul's comfort zone. It's just their world. We're living in it, and we're going to get that map 3. It's time to head over to the casters to find out.
Thanks very much, Sierra. Yeah, this is Moist Mogul's pick, and thus far throughout Game Changers, we have seen some incredible comebacks from this team, and this is a map where they are very, very comfortable, Wyatt. But the question is now, starting off on their attacking side, what is it going to take for them to get back into this one?
I mean, from the amount that we saw of their attack side on the previous map, I thought we were seeing some great rounds. I thought that the rounds where they were slowing things down were really good. And this is one of those maps with the 3 sites where pushing and pulling defenders, being able to slow things down and make the proper mid to late round adaptations, clearing out your flanks effectively are so important. And that is something that they were really displaying on the end of Pearl. So I'm holding out hope here for their attack side.
Well, we'll have to see if they can recover, because it's XSET, 1 map up in the series and on the verge of making it into the top 3. For Moist Moguls, though, it starts out slow, just setting up to hold space in mid and maybe take some garage control in this late round.
Yeah, XSET immediately setting up what looks like a trap play here in garage. If that turret takes contact, no doubt that breach will be ready to turn around and fire off a stun. It's actually not going to come out, though, and Han able to pick up 2 kills, one with the molly. Peculiar situation. The flash coming in from Rise, that paranoia catching 2 players to slow things down. But the Moguls aren't going to be too mad at that. Things slowed down with a minute left on the clock and the player advantage. Haven can be a bit of a playground for them now.
Swarm grenade
Look at this
out.
instant reaction out of XSET. They are pushing fast onto this flank, and they're ready for this one. Han, damage up around the corner. Pande running away, but they don't know about the Omen in the corner. Rise, here she's blinded, finds 2. A third as well as Pande swings around, and it is an utter shutdown from XSET. A beautiful bait setup from them.
They set that up so quickly as well off the back of Athena actually retreating out of C long. That timing window was so small, but Rise was able to fully capitalize off of it. And you could just see they had no suspicion that a player would have gotten there in that small window.
Absolutely not. And XSET, they are keeping the good vibes rolling. They're continuing the momentum that they managed to build up in map number 1 to bring you back to that one. Well, Moguls had a few moments on their attacking side. Overall, it was an XSET who was very proactive on their defense and managed to win it out with some great individual plays, and it looks like we might see that continuing into map number 2.
An early knife for a bit of info towards that C site. Again, from what we saw in the last map, the Moguls don't like to invest into these second rounds too much. They're just going to opt for a whole bunch of classics here. Take as many credits as they can into the next round. So this one, at least for them, probably not going to bear too much fruit.
Yeah, in this round, it is just also kind of an early preview of how the Moguls will play this map. I felt like some of their rounds on Pearl kind of bordered on too slow. The patience was a virtue, but it was also something that did get the better of them at times. So I'm interested to see how their ideas of how they kind of work the map on this attacking side continue. As here on this eco, it's just play as a death ball together, try and feel out any aggression from XSET, but nothing's been given away yet.
Yeah, and it's in a situation like this where you're really looking to that core of the Moguls that have been playing together for so long. Athena, Dodo, Emily, just so experienced at working together. Bringing on the other 2 players to form this team. But you're hoping for them to really lead the way on this second map, despite losing this pistol, despite being down a map, to actually rally back and make another comeback happen.
And you see, it's a good idea, I imagine, cooked up by Athena and that core that you were talking about. Play slow on the map, late split into B, you get a spike down. You don't kill a single player on the enemy team, but that's a fine outcome for the bonus round. Inject a little extra money, get some ult pips on the board. Hana's already very close to that null command off her strong performance in round number 1, so something to keep tabs on, as I would expect Moist Moguls to continue to play slow now against this anti-bonus.
I would like to see them fight for some of those orbs, like you just mentioned. Han's so close to that KO ult. Try and use that to get an early execute here, maybe on the next buy round if they can convert this bonus. But it looks like they're just going to make that fast A-take play. Actually not going to smoke the cross, just immediately taking space with this Omen TP.
Bunny is ready with a flash, and Cat just on the other side to swing if they hear players in this direction. See the Skydog going towards short to get Dodo Nut set up on an angle. But is this the final destination for this squad? They're just holding for re-aggression and successful in that. Rise goes down towards short. And now options on this pivot is they again feel out the push and punish it. Very patient, and it pays off for the Moguls.
Yeah, XSET there really displaying an antsiness that we haven't seen from them too often. Typically, they're a team that has no problem slowing things down and playing a patient game, especially on attack, but they're really just prodding for a bit too much information at the wrong time. Gonna get punished hard for it, and this is exactly what Moguls want. You can see Han now ult in her hands to come into this next one on the full buy. That KO ult will be so good for the execute.
Yeah, and that might be the time to pick up the pace a little bit. Just pop that null command, go fast on a C-split or an A-split. They've already managed to get a lot of information off of these slow results. They know these rounds at times where XSET is taking some space towards A. They've seen the look of just that killjoy utility to hold towards B. Just getting that information of how your opponent plays, taking your time with it. Those are the kind of things that really help an IGL like Athena Giant, and hitting some clean shots for your Jet doesn't hurt either. Dodonut will 3K on the anti-eco, will get herself close to the Blade Storm as Moist Moguls find their first.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Dodonut can do on this map, on the Jet. Dodo just overall puts up some unbelievable stats. I mean, as it currently sits for the past 90 days on Jet, a 1 kill per round average. That is outrageous. I just want to see if she's able to do it here against the top competition that the scene has to offer. Could she make XSET look like a tier 2 team with how good she is in some of these games?
Because thus far, it has mostly been those tier 2 games where she's popping off in the open qualifiers. She's been the player to harvest, but more questions have surrounded her as we've gotten deeper into this event. In this one, though, it's a little bit weird towards Shorty around the corner. The dash will time out, and again, maybe a bit of impatience, a bit of a weird circumstance. It's Bob and Bunny pushing together. A 1-for-1 trade is towards Short. It's still kind of a standoff. But Bunny's pushed on the other side and taking a solo fight against Athena that she wins. It would appear that XSET is just running out of patience.
It really does. This is a bizarre situation at A-Long. You don't often see the Breach just self-flashing. It's not really the best use of the agent, but Bunny B gets away with it. And look at this strange situation.
There's still a player just sitting Short, by the way. This is so weird.
Dodo just sat there in Short, absolutely chilling. To push out a C. Oh no, it looked like Han might have got caught looking at the mini-map.
That is brutal. And now it's just Dodo and Emluo, and Emluo is currently on a world tour of Haven. She's wrapped her way all the way from C back through spawn, through B, into A Heaven at this point. I mean, 20 seconds left. This round is not happening. They're not going for it. Just going to be a save, but I question the setup a little bit for Moist Moguls, because if you're playing that slow, if you're waiting and defaulting, you need to be ready for those reaggressions.
Yeah, Moguls would have really hoped to have seen Dodo actually, prepared to maybe react a bit quicker off that Breach flash. Unorthodox as it may be for the Breach to be self-flashing in that position, still, you would hope that that crossfire could come in, that the trade would be there. Frankly, a strange round from both teams that we just witnessed.
Yeah, only 4 rounds in, and every one of these rounds has taken the entire time allotted. This Moist Mogul squad is one that I don't know if Ludwig's paying them by the minute or something, but they are taking their time in this one.
We'll see how they try to open this round here. Economy
deploying drone.
Okay for both teams at this point. As Katsumi actually picking up the operator on that new jet roll she's found herself on with this XSET squad and opening things up immediately with a really nice pick. Bunny B actually swinging off that as well to get a second. Wow, these XSET players are just ruthless with the swings. The mechanics on the team are so good, and it's just Katsumi with the operator to shut things down.
Yeah, they understand how MXM is taking this space. Okay, they're teleporting an Omen across. They're trying to get their jet into a position to break the dart and then late push Short off of a dog. They're so ready for all of that utility that instantly they're in a position to punish it, but maybe there's a chance of this one. Han, 1 versus 2. She finds Bob. Cat's low, but it's an op on the angle, and the jump peak will not suffice. 3K for Katsumi, and a round for XSET.
Still though, seeing these openings from Moguls, XSET on this map just not looking as drilled as we've seen on the others, as we've seen when they're on Pearl, when they're on Ascent. they're not really in great positions in some of these situations to trade for each other and to support each other effectively. I can't help but feel like there's an opening here for Moguls. It's just in those scenarios, the outrageous mechanical talent of players like Katsumi and Bob bail them out.
Get out of my way!
It is absurd, the stuff that they are pulling off. Cat going for a confidence peek down mid, and Dodo doing the same towards A long as well. Blade into the head of Bob. One player alone on this site. Rise. He's in a close corner, ready for the blades, but it's just a bunny hopping across her screen, and Athena will swing in time to aid in that fight. So 5 versus 3 already. Cat misses out on a shot, but it's his Defender Killjoy ultimate coming in. It will completely force most Moguls off of this site.
An opening created for XSET, a nice aftershock off the back of it as well. Bunny Bee actually able to claim one kill off of that, and Panday set up for the swing. 3-on-3 now. Molly dealing some damage. Bunny Bee again. That self-flash from the breach, but immediately dealt with by Emily. 2 on the board, and now Katsumi. All of it in her hands, but far too much to hold. Gonna go down to Dodo. They somehow claim that round out of nowhere on the bad buy, just rushing A, and it really was just Dodo. She started it with the knives and she finished it with the Vandal.
I mean, what is going on in that round? It's Bob trying to hold alone for information towards Long, dying to a Blade Storm, and then just complete chaos across the board. But Moist will take that one. It is a good way to break this momentum, to build yourself back in, but it will immediately prompt a timeout from XSET.
I like this timeout from XSET, honestly. I think despite being up 4-2, they do have some things that they need to discuss here. They need to address what's going on at A long. It's taken heroics to keep that area of the map locked down. And when Moguls go for more of a simple, straight-up effort like we had just seen, they just weren't in proper positions to shut it down. There wasn't a crossfire. It was just these solo fights that they ended up losing.
Yeah, I'm interested if maybe the solution is actually leaning a little bit more into these retakes for XSET. We've seen on their Ascent, they're actually really strong at those. And when you're running this Breach Sova composition, if you initially are maybe taking a fight towards A and then giving that space and leading more into these rounds where you are playing that retake, it could work well, especially since Moist takes so long on the clock. You have opportunities to go for those kind of fast pre-takes where your opponent lets the clock dwindle down, they're taking the site, and you can really disrupt. We'll see if that's the solution they found or if it's a different idea entirely, as you see some pings coming out towards A lobby here.
Look at the state of the economy for XSET. They have fully forced into this round. They've got the ultimates to pull it off, but the weaponry, on the other hand, lacking quite a bit. That stinger in the hands of Rise, and though we've seen Bob go to just, you know, unhuman levels of insanity with the Sheriff in the past, tough to pull it off every time.
That it is. Rise with the stinger. A dangerous weapon in a strong position, but I don't think Emluo is gonna push her luck too soon here, as it's actually Garage being taken by Moist. Dodo not just holding this space. XSET not aware of it yet, but they're happy to give up this space.
This is, again, one of those rounds where Moguls just like to slow things down.
I've got your trail.
They claimed a bit of that space on A, and now they have a smoked back C to actually dash into the site. But look at this, the spike for them still in spawn. Athena carrying that on the sky. Bob gonna shut down Han. Not sure if there's a possible res coming in. Actually, it will. And in the meantime, Emluo, who had been lurking that entire time in the sewers, gets a kill on A, which prompts the rotate.
They're pivoting again.
And they're pivoting to C, where that Jet KO duo was able to get this space. What an amazing last-second call from the Moguls.
I mean, 10 seconds. If there was a single player here from XSET, this could have fallen apart, but in the last second, they managed to get it down. 5 versus 4 in the post plant now. Does XSET want to go fast? You bet they do. Rolling Thunder comes in. Emily trying to hold on to space in Garage as Cat trundles her way out. Blade Storm ready. Backlines. Down goes one. A second for Katsumi as well, but it's just her left alive. 3 kills in the round. Nearly another. But Emily manages to shut down. And Moist Moguls make it work in the mid-round yet again.
What an outrageously good call from the side of the Moguls. What a cool fake, and what a sell late in the round from Emluo. Her deepest run ever in a Game Changers event hadn't had much impact on the map up until this point. But just when the Moguls needed it, on a round to break the economy of XSET, she comes up massive, selling the fake, finding that opening, just so good.
I mean, it was like 2 fakes in 1 round. It is like the kind of setup where you can easily overheat it, but thus far, it has been working out. An eco stack towards the C site for XSET, but something tells me Moist is going to continue to take their time probing this space and eventually find out that it is the softer site here. Unless they just walk into it.
Unless they just walk into it.
Surely this isn't the round they just go for a hard exec, right?
Surely they don't contact into a 4-person crossfire. No, the utility will come out. Dodo is in deep. That flash paying dividends from Han. Counter paranoia, though, is going to slow things down. It's Emluo in the site, trying to clear out this array of defenders, holding all of these angles. Disaster for the Moguls at this point. Down to 2 players. A rifle recovered from Bunnybee, but Han, again, with an impactful play. That kill through the smoke to even things up.
How are they in a good position out of all of that? You walk into an eco stack, you lose 3 of your players, but now you have a 2v2 and a chance to pivot to A. Raizo is ahead of the curve. And look at Bunnybee, she's already re-clearing fast on this flank. Are they ready for Rise? They know that Omen ult came in, but see, they clear short. No, somehow, just in time, Emily manages to swing around and find it. Now she's playing for short, and Bunnybee's running it up. No idea in the mind of Emily that that flank is possible that quickly. What a blunder from Moist. Honestly, every round so thorough, taking their time, but in this one, they make just the wrong call, and it all falls apart.
The one round where they just don't take enough time, spend enough utility to actually effectively clear out some of the other areas on the map. They just didn't gather that much information early on, and they just walk into the stack. That is brutal. But at the tail end of the round, too, it has to be mentioned, and credit has to be given to Rise for that heads-up teleport, actually going over to the A site. And it wasn't just a kill that she got, but the delay as well that allowed for that second player, Bunnybee, to come up on that flank.
Moist will go straight back into it, though.
Placing swamp grenade.
This time, 3 players towards mid at the beginning. Utility to deny a push towards A. And the same dog that we have seen them send 100 times. This time, paired it with a flash from the Omen as well, but no one there to follow it up. Maybe just trying to pressure away XSET, but immediately the reaction is in. Drone will show that it is just Emluo here with the support of her Sky and make XSET suspicious of something towards B or C.
Yeah, Pende getting a flash from Bunnybee, typically the duelist, but an initiator, setting up the duelist, setting up the other players on this map, and setting up Pende to get that opening off the B main swing. And now, XSET with an opportunity to slow things down in the 5v4, play a bit more spread, just set up for a retake if need be.
I love the re-aggression in the mid-round. Last 2 rounds, XSET has been playing to Moist game, letting that clock dwindle down, but this time, they are ready to find that moment to take a fight, but Cat taking a bit too much of one, and that one re-swings to try and clear front B. Dies at the hands of Dodo. Bunnybee not really in a position to trade this one out.
30 seconds
the odds
left.
too even, but look at that clock, 30 seconds. Moist don't have many options here.
And that one little cloudburst going down from Dodo kind of fakes that someone could have crossed into the site, and it actually drags Pande in. They have to re-clear the left side of B, but all of these defensive XSET players are already in position for this C pivot. Backside is Pande, one trade from the side of Moguls. Athena with a second, just dragging the Moguls back into this round, despite the XSET players bunkered in backside, but it just doesn't matter. There is no time to plant. Rise just doing her absolute best, staying alive, running down the clock. And now we'll have to see what the economy looks like for the Moguls after 2 round losses.
That's another tragedy for the Moist Moguls. Something where it looks like they have the right idea. Slowing down, taking their space. They lose a player, but they even out. But despite how slow they were playing, they didn't give themselves second chances. They didn't give themselves space on the map. They never fully cleared towards A. They never fully cleared towards C long, so they had no idea what they were running into. And XSET had plenty of time to just run into the correct stack and shut down at the last second.
And now they've spent it all. They've fully forced into this round. Such a crucial one. If they don't take it here, XSET, their advantage is just going to be out of control at the tail end of this half. A lead that would feel
I've got your trail.
almost unrecoverable as this garage hit is going to come in. The Seeker's popped and Han with a nice entry off that updrafting distraction from Dodo.
Nice work out of Moist. Finally a bit of a quicker round here. A clear idea. We take towards C. We split through garage and the punishment there. Spam. The spawn dealing a bit of damage but not finding any kills onto XSET. Have utility to stall as well. Holding both on site and towards garage. But that's the first target for XSET. Drone and a flash from Bunny B ready to take this space. Around the corner, Zemluo getting spammed down, still finds one before her grave, and now an even situation. Garage has to be seeded, but that time is working in favor of the Moist Moguls. Straight the map pulled together on this side, but stuck in the corner is Dodo. However, her team is here in time, swinging to trade is Han. 3 kills out of her, and a recovery from Moist.
So well played from Han that round, just always in position to trade off of her teammates perfectly. That first kill into garage, and then on the site when Dodo was in that tough spot, forced to swing on these players after taking that damage from the shock dart. Just so well played from her. Determined to make it into that lower bracket final, to play against her old team, Shopify, that she used to lead, used to be the IGL for, and could now try to take down, but first has to get this win here against the strong opposition in XSET.
Yeah, that was way back in the day, but right here, in this moment, it's XSET on an eco round, and they are dangerous on these. We've already seen the Sheriffs claim one miracle, and it starts in a similar fashion. Dodo down, Panda hopping up into mid, forcing respect from Moist to, again, just have that timer starting to work against them, have that player disadvantage, have map control slowly being taken away, and Bunny B might even get a backstab on this one. No one is watching for this besides the alarm bot. A back for free. Han taking down. The trade is there, sure, but it's only a Sheriff loss in exchange. Katsumi, though, unable to find her shot, so odds do even for but a moment.
It feels like on these rounds, for some reason, the weight of the moment sets in and the Moguls cracks in their lines, not holding the right crossfires. They're trying to push into sewer now together. Mluo and Athena. A nice molly that would have cleared out Panday. The swing's forced. And they're going to make up for those early round mistakes. They're going to find the trades. They're going to play with each other. Good fundamentals shown there as it's Rise alone. No hope in hell with just the classic.
Yeah, 1v3. They know where she is. They just have to swing her together. No chance. A 5th round. So despite some of the early struggles, a few rounds that shouldn't have slipping away. This lead was never secured for XSET. These last 2 rounds so impactful for the Moist Moguls to build back into this one. They have a chance for 6-6.
And we're going to see an explosive final round to end the half here. So many ultimates in play. I mean, you can just see the makings of what could be a fast hit from the Moguls off that KO ult. And then after the spike is down, just using that lockdown to try and lock up the round. But on the opposite side, XSET, they've got a lockdown to retake. They've got a breach ult to retake, Rise to teleport, maybe get a good position like she did on that previous round.
Cat down mid. Has a stun from her teammate ready to go, but Bob overswings it just a tad, and Emily is ready to punish. Still, players have walked close, and Athena's splash will not clear them. Rise just behind, watching and waiting. She knows that Moist is on the other side. How many can she claim? 2. She'll get out. 3v3. It is even again. XSET incredible at finding these ways back in.
It's Rise over and over, just finding these tricky flank timings. And now Moguls feeling forced to actually get into this site here. That KO ult gonna pay dividends as all of the Killjoy utility there that was going to be used to defend the site nullified. And Dodo, what a peek to take out Katsumi and find an advantage in a situation like that. You certainly don't expect it. You don't expect that swing at all. Dashing away. And now Panda just gonna wait out this KO ult to put down the lockdown.
They knew this lockdown was coming. That's why they wanted to fight. That's why they wanted to even the odds. Moist will try and stick around for a second. They might even just leave Dodo as a sacrifice. Can she find a kill on her way out of this one? Absolutely massive out of Dodo. She'll die. It doesn't matter. Fantastic idea out of Moist. And now it's just Rise. Paranoia. She has to stick this one to half. The utility is coming in. The molly at her feet. and just no chance to close even at the half, 6-6. What a recovery from Moist.
Switching
So
sides.
good from Han at the end there. Just playing a lights-out game of KO. Those past few rounds, doing it all. And on the last one, that last-second flash for Dodo to swing when they knew that the retakers were going to come in off the lockdown when time was getting low. Perfectly placed flash to get that kill onto the Killjoy. Molly for the spike after. Han just turning up at the end of the half to even things up, to make this such a tight game.
Incredible stuff out of them, but as we've seen, XSET is a very strong team on this attacking side, and I expect their pace to be just a little bit different. 4-1 setup, looking to go fast towards the C site. Bob already on the line with that default dart. Stun is through. Cat's already dashing in. Moisto are set up to play for retake.
Take note of the utility on Athena, the Sky. In the retake, it's going to be so crucial. 2 flashes, the dog as well to clear out some of this space. Oh, but XSET getting proactive, pushing into spawn, actually finding Emluo and Panday, who was on that lurk, at least gets traded out. Moguls trying to find what they can. But time is dwindling while all this action on the flank is occurring, and oh my god, Katsumi is so damn crisp with a ghost. God, she is so good. It is just outrageous. That's why she's on the Duelist. She always displayed skill like that when she was on the controller back in the day for C9, making this role swap and not missing a beat. She's just been so talented on the new role.
I mean, these are the rounds where you just see Cat unleashed. You see why she's given the freedom by this team. And the audible there is so incredibly well called. They instantly react off the Killjoy utility being broken on the flank to push through into spawn, recognizing the possibility of a reflank. And not only that, but they set up so incredibly well in a crossfire once they do make that push happen, that Moist just had no chance to work back into that round.
Oh, maybe
Excellent stuff, but
I've seen this one before.
A little bit of an eco stack. See if we get a similar end. Maybe a similar ending, maybe not. XSET seem a little bit more aware of the trap that's been popped on them. They've already found 1 kill. Athena's just going to try and bait them to, come on in. It's nice on the C side. It's a good place to be, but XSET not going to fall into the same trap.
So embarrassing.
Luckily for them, the Moguls didn't invest into the Sheriffs, but frankly, they also did in that round what Moguls didn't on theirs. They took that so slow, played the range with the better weapons. They didn't actually dash in. They didn't try to claim the space too quickly. Nice patience from XSET.
Well done, and it grants them a strong bonus round here. Tatsumi will have a hero rifle to work with, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Back to the C hit.
Yeah, absolutely. See already 2 of these rounds. Moguls content just playing it for retake. So we're going to have another big 5-on-5 situation. No ults really in play yet. Again, tons of utility for these initiators on the Mogul side.
Wow!
But Rise just has a sixth sense for Emluo's positioning to find advantage.
Yeah, it's excellent stuff, but straight into the retake. Moist goes. 2 kills already. Emily and Dodo, that duo working in conjunction, but do they expect Rise from the other side? He takes Dodo, blindsided. Hana is here though. She was a hero in the first half, fantastic on the KO play. But now it comes down to this reflank. Panday was patient, but she is known. Emily so aware of this one, but falls off the angle. Maybe just at the wrong time. Han sticking onto this one, last second swing, but Emily there for the trade. A 1 versus 1 in the end, but it will land at the side of Moist. Okay. A little scary.
Oh my god.
Good thing that was half.
My heart dropped for a second there. Emily, please defuse the spike. The spike is right over there. Holy, that scared me.
Normally a good thing to do, I would say.
But this is fine. This is fine. I feel like might not have mentioned her enough, but Emily putting on a show this game, and Rise as well. The omens for both sides just turning up on Haven right now. And uncharacteristically, Bob at the bottom of the scoreboard for XSET, but Rise has picked up the slack and more. All of those flanks on that first half were just so good, so impactful.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about Rise, but she has been so solid for this squad of XSET, and I think was a really underrated player. After that kind of original CLG project fell apart, Rise got knocked out of that one. Her kind of expectations as a player were a little bit off. People didn't know what to think, didn't know where she was going, and I feel like forgot about her in a way. But now coming back into the fray, playing on this XSET squad, actually playing against the rebuild of her team that she once had at CLG, and doing incredibly well at it.
Moguls coming off the back of this timeout now. What are they going to do heading into this round? Are they going to change the setup at all? So far, they've been content with just playing the retake game on C. Not an uncommon approach by any means. And again, that alarm bot going to get placed. With Emluo just rotating to pick up Garage. More of the players stacked towards that B and A side. But here we go again. XSET. You don't want to play in C? Sure, we'll just plant for free and we'll take on the retake.
What is the answer this time from XSET, though? On the pistol round, it was a deep push towards spawn, recognizing the possibility of a reflank. On the second round, it was trying to hold space in Garage. On this one, though, it's a lot heavier off-site. Bob already retreating out of this one, and for good reason. She has a Hunter's Fury to try and fight off of the retake attempt. That is so good out of XSET. It was combined, I believe, with a Breach Stun from Bunny B as well. Intelligent stuff, get them a player advantage in this one and buy them some time. Cat tries to push into the smoke, but catches a rough timing against Emily, and Bob continuing the support. A shot to dart at range 4-1, but still there needs to be trades had on the site. XSET grabbed them in time. 9-7, these C hits continue to find success.
Yeah, that really is just all down to Bob there, right? They're perfectly content going for this C hit again because they know more than likely they'll be able to get the plant, but then they have an ultimate that is so effective once you have the spike down, just putting themselves in a perfect position to actually close out the round.
Great stuff out of them, and that's the tipping point here. Moist Moguls is going to be on an eco round. They will set the Blade Storm towards the C site. And they're ready for the dart that Bob's been throwing every round. One kill, there it is. For Donut, second as well. Crispy shots on the Blade Storm. I mean, that's all you need to make this round dangerous. They're going to start investing ults and really make a go of this one.
Han gonna slow that attacking side down. Good info with the knights as well. Almost getting caught there, but this is fine. I think Han had another looking at the mini-map situation there, potentially.
Spike planted.
As the rest of the players on the Moguls rally together here for this 5-on-3 retake. This could be the turning point for them on the eco. Dodo has already cracked this round open with 2 kills. If she gets more, it could put Moguls right back into a great position here. Rise gonna get the first. Dodo just floating down, descending onto Rise to get a third in the round. Drone comes in from long to try to get a bit of info as the Molly delays anyone actually tapping the spike. But Dodo just has a bloodlust rushing into long. Bob finally gonna shut her down. Han with it all to do. She's been so good on Haven as the KO, but no bullets in the classic, forced to reload. Bob switches to the sidearm to close out the round. Moguls with an opportunity to flip the game on its head, but coming up just short.
You have to feel for Dodo there. 3 kills in the round, almost able to do more for her squad, but everyone else only had a classic. And it's just so incredibly difficult, even with that massive player advantage, to close out a round like that. Great work out of Panday. Her 2K towards short might have saved this round. Still, it is 10-7. Still, it is a tough position to be in. But now Moist have an operator for Donut. They have full rifles for this squad. They're one alt lighter, having to invest that KO no command in the previous.
And again, XSET back to favoring this C site. We've seen it time and time again. The stun comes pretty early. It catches 2 players, but no one to capitalize off of it. As these Garage players as well, the duo Rise and Panda taking that space, and Emily not prepared for that at all. Gets completely caught, but Emluo, a timing of her own to catch one. Athena down in the site. If Emluo can get more, that could be the thing to even things up. But Panda is just playing so well on the Killjoy right now. The trade is there immediately from Bob to shut things down.
And Dodo Nut is in a 1 versus 3 operator in hand. Wants to make a go with this one, finds an opener. And now a winnable situation, a gun dropped at her feet. The ult, not quite the weapon for the job, and she knows it. Worried about a reflank from Garage, but no one's coming for her. It's Cat and Bunny on the other side, set up. Holding a crossfire on site, but she's making noise, and Bunny's ready for that one. Swings around the corner, finds the kill, and XSET another C hit, another success. They're up to 11.
It really is a case of if it's not broke, don't fix it. XSET have found so much success on this C site. They are determined to make it into this lower bracket final. Bob and Casimir determined to face Shopify again, to get revenge for what happened at the Game Changers Championship last year, to continue their streak of never losing a North American Game Changer event.
It's another C hit setup. It's another stack this time with the Sheriffs. Moist will push deep into long. Paranoia through. They want to fight for this one. But the counter utility is good. Completely nullifies that first volley sent out, and a dart to clear the close corner. Somehow everyone on Moist able to get out alive, and Athena in the chaos even finds a kill. This could get troublesome for XSET. Smoke block them off. It'll allow Moist to regroup on the C site and force XSET to find a second approach.
It's the C stack again, Mimi. There it is. This time with the Sheriffs and an opening found. Han, watching that cross on A is giving really valuable information as well. These players don't feel like they have to move off C at all at this point.
Yeah.
Dodo
they have
backed
a
up a bit
Sovadar
too.
in like 5 seconds, and an ult as well for Bob. I wonder if the idea is to use that to try and clear out this site on the lead side.
That TP is going to come in from Rise, try and get a bit of info, and there's that ult you were talking about. It is going to get it's getting a tag and a kill immediately. That's Mluo down to even the odds a bit. But if you look at the HP, those XSET players are
30
weak. They took
seconds left.
a lot of stray bullets from those Sheriffs during that standoff at long. And with time getting low, if things get scrappy, it's a dangerous situation for them.
Yusha could be Bob. Fast into this B site. Killjoy ultimate down to try and hold on to this space. Moist flash ready through the link. They come. Down they go. Both players falling. Athena still trying to get something done, but the defense is good. 7 seconds. Bob is planting, and at this point, no one is there to deny. Han, 1 versus 2. Bob is wounded. She knows both these players are on the site, but not exactly sure where. Flashes to work with. First one comes around the corner. The swing is there from Bob, and she makes it to safety across the line with her teammate. Second flash. Can she find this? Han swinging, but Rise ready. Wider on the angle. And clutching things up for XSET. 12-7. They are on the precipice.
Again, it's Rise in this lower bracket. It's just always been the story of Katsumi and Bob with their backs against the wall late into this bracket. In this lower bracket semi, Rise stepping up when they needed her most. This is, without a doubt, one of the best games we've seen from her so far in this tournament. The amount of plays on that first half, the intelligent flanks, finding these timings, and now, just in a scrappy situation like that, when it comes down to the duels, she wins it out.
Katsumi and Bob, so many times in Game Changers, went to that finals, won it. They recognize success. For the rest of this XSET team, finding that place, making it there is the ultimate goal. It's something new for them, but Moist is still trying to shut that down. It is another C hit. The tried and true, but will it be the same outcome? Rise starts strong, a second for her as well. She's unstoppable in this one. Wants a shot at the top 3, wants that shot versus Shopify, but Dodonut will still try and fight for more. Back in for one, but she was isolated in this one. Support raining in from the spawn side. It's just Athena and Han, and they've been good, but XSET is overbearing. XSET is unstoppable. We were waiting for that third squad in Game Changers, and it might just be XSET. A 2-0 victory and a shot against Shopify.
It's only right that Katsumi closes it out, but throughout the game, it was Panday, it was Rise, it was Bunny Bee actually picking up the initiator on this map, supporting them. It was these new faces surrounding that known quantity, that excellent Cloud9 duo of the past that actually brought them the win there on Haven. And Bunny Bee's excellent play on the first map, on the Phoenix, when Katsumi went back to her old role on the controller. Just that trio in this series proving their worth in spades. And I mean, you can't say enough about Rise on Haven. She was just amazing on that map. Absolutely phenomenal on both halves. All of the close rounds, she had massive impact in winning.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible game out of XSET, but their day is not even done yet. They still have Shopify to play. They still have a game to try and qualify into the grand finals, but the progress we've already seen for a team newly put together has been fantastic. That does mean that Moist Mogul's run comes to an end, but in this moment, it's honestly the question of, can Shopify stop XSET? Who is the team who will make it into that grand final? All those answers still to come. But for the moment, we'll send things over to the desk for Sierra and the analysts to break down the series we just watched.
Well, it might be a case of Moist Moguls being these absolute demons on the map 1 and map 2 and map 3. But we kind of failed to realize that XSET are kind of just demons all around. I mean, they took this in 2. They're going to be moving on. Sapphire, it's a good day for XSET and XSET fans so far. It's not over yet.
It is indeed a good day. You know, this is where we expect to see players like Bob and Katsumi fighting for a chance in the finals. Even Rise has been in the grand finals before. It's been over 2 years. But, you know, we expected these star players to perform when it really matters. There were some really nice moments here. We saw some really good plays from Dodo not there, but just not getting the support she needed for the team to be able to close out this map.
I mean, it's definitely been a great run for Moist Moguls, considering how things looked at some points for them, how they were able to be turning things around. But, I mean, we are hearing it from Mimi Bach in terms of how we're ranking people going into this. We knew that Shopify Rebellion and Shopify were going to be these people to talk about, and XSET are making their way into the conversation.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people came into this event and weren't really sure what to expect out of this XSET roster. We talked about it a little bit on the desk the previous days as well, that this team was sort of assembled. They grabbed pieces of different teams and kind of brought them all together. And you're hoping that this works out well for them, and it has so far. I think the team has improved with each match. Even just coming into today, looking at this match on Haven, if you had told me yesterday that they were going to be Haven, I probably would have expected a loss simply because I didn't like the way that they were approaching the map previously. But they make an adjustment. They move Rise off of the role they were playing before. Remember, we talked about this at the top of the series. Bob was playing Cypher. I think Rise was playing Breach. It was all over the place. They had a variety of roles that were just scrambled that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I think Panday was playing Omen. This feels like they got back to their roots. This is how this team should try to play, and it works out well for them. Yeah, you could argue that at times individual players had to step up, but that comes with comfort. When you have a player who's feeling like this is the way I play my role all the time, it works out well. And you can see Rise, one of those players sitting at the top of the charts with a 23-12 performance, a strong game coming in from XSET. And now they get a chance at revenge because Shopify, if you remember, was the team that knocked them down into the lower bracket.
I mean, looking into this though, Shopify, they're going to want revenge too, going up against V1 in the grand finals. So they're going to be putting everything into this next series to make sure that they could be making their way up there. We're going to be having that up shortly, as well as an interview with XSET. First, we have our Prime Gaming match highlights, and we'll see you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Verizon post-match interview. XSET to take a strong 2-0 to be moving along in the lower bracket. We're going to be seeing them play against real soon, but first, we're going to be talking to Danimal a little bit about the team and what to expect a little bit going forward. First off, congratulations, XSET still moving on, and this team I find so interesting because talking to Rise yesterday, she was talking about the fact that players are playing what they're comfortable with. They're just making things work. As a coach, then, how does that all play out on your end?
We had a period, I think, that was interesting where we were playing a lot of meta stuff. It didn't feel like it was working out too well. And Bob was like, I want to do agent select for our comps where we just, like, people play something they're really passionate about and we'll figure out the comp around that. Because Bob's, like, fills in really well, plays every agent in the game. And so we started just plugging in, like, I think I could be good at this. I think I'm going to do this. And then we came to our Pearl comp, and it's been farming teams. So it's not so much that, the thing is we don't play with strats. Like, we only play fundamentally. We just read what's on the screen, what's happening on the map. So it's kind of like we're making it up as we go along, but we've drilled a lot of fundamental concepts that are just applicable across the board. So that's sort of our approach, basically.
Which I love that, because then players, no matter what the situation, will be able to adapt and overcome, which is awesome. And an area where we see the team adapt and overcome a little bit, we'll talk about Haven, because for some of the great compositions we've got to see, Haven before seemed like a struggle and seemed a little bit of a mismatch in terms of where people were playing, but we got to see the switch up today. Really great. So where did the conversations come in to then lead to the composition we have now?
It's been a struggle. Our Haven has been kind of up and down. We kind of realized that having Bob on Cypher, while she's an incredible Cypher, she's a great lurker, having her with the pack where she can sort of call the timings, understand exactly where the space can be taken, it was a lot more beneficial for us. Initially, we had some sort of, like, trepidation about putting Bunny B on Breach because it's kind of antithetical to her playstyle, but we tried it and it was working in Scrim, so we were like, hell, let's do it. So this map isn't so great for us. Let's try something different, and it seems to be working out. But that was a little sloppy, that game, I'm going to say. We can do better.
Hey, I'm excited to see y'all do better, because it's not over yet today. Now going into the lower finals, playing up against Shopify Rebellion, which is a team that bested you before in the uppers to knock you down into the lowers. So looking ahead in this rematch, what are yours and the team's thoughts going into this?
We're going to mop them. We don't think that this is going to happen again. We had a very bad off day. We're going to mop them.
I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna be ending on that great note. I'll give a quick space if you have any shout outs, but then we're gonna get straight to the mopping.
Shouts out to XSET. Shouts out to my team. Doing a great job. Really proud of them. Yeah. Shouts out to the fans. #rep the set. Let's go.
Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. Best of luck going on forward, okay?
Thanks.
As for us, hey, those are some fighting words. Talking about this mopping that's going to be going on. So this is a rematch I am so excited for. We're going to be taking a quick little break, though, before we get into it. So it's time to grab your popcorn and be back soon.